Katy J. Pearson brings us the sound of the morning. It's her new album, it's released today, and here is Katy, fresh from performing at Glastonbury, to tell us about it. Do you have exciting Glastonbury stories to tell us? We just live vicariously through you guys, back down here.
Yeah, I mean, Glastonbury is always just so crazy. It's just the most extraordinary festival where, it's just the caliber of artists you see in one weekend is just a bit actually too much sometimes. But I saw some Paul McCartney, but then I'm so annoyed because I needed a wee so badly that I had to leave the crowd. So I missed all the big Wings hits and a lot of the stuff we brought Bruce Springsteen on. So I'm really kicking myself.
Man.
But but I also, what else did I see? I feel like I was just running around doing a lot of my own gigs that I didn't see as much as I would like. Saw Faux Real at Crow's Nest, which is really good. And what else did I saw Squids, and I saw a bit of Foals. It's all a bit of a blur, to be honest.
Sure. Well, so what were your own shows like? What kind of, who are you playing with a band and stuff? Tell me a little bit about your live configuration.
Yeah. So the first show I did was, I sing with Orlando Weeks from the Maccabees with his solo stuff. So I did a show with him on the Friday, and then I did my first show with my own project with KJP on the Friday afternoon at Croissant Neuf, which is this really lovely small stage near the Healing Fields. And then on the Saturday morning I did my main slot, which is on the Park stage, which obviously is it's always been my favourite stage of Glastonbury, and to get to play it was a really big achievement for me. So I found that really special and had a really good crowd. It felt really good.
And new songs came over well?
Yeah, I feel like they came across really nicely, and I had a really good the audience were really warm for the new songs. It didn't feel too they just wanted the old stuff, so that felt really nice. I felt comfortable to kind of play a lot of new stuff, so that was good.
And then you have a record release gig coming up in Bristol, is that right?
Yes, Friday, so on the day of release, and then tomorrow I'm doing an in-store at Third Man and one at Banquet Records in London, and then going back to my home city, so that'll be really special, because obviously last time my first record came out, I was in lockdown, so I didn't see anyone. I was just sat in my house on Zoom woo.
That must have been strange, man.
It was so weird. I was like, oh, it was me and my housemates being like, well done, you've released an album. They were really sweet. We had a party, but to be able to actually connect with everyone properly and play the songs in record stores and stuff would be really nice.
Gotcha. Yeah. So the new album is called Sound of the Morning, and it's coming out fairly quickly after the first album. And of course, for the first album, you had your whole lifetime ready to get ready for the record, and now you've had a year and a half. So, there's the notorious sophomore, whatever you want to call it. But did you feel any pressure doing the second album after the good response that you got from the first?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just one of those things where, as you say, when you've built up a repertoire over so many years of just life experience, the amount of emotions you go through from 15 to 21 is intense as hell. So I think for me, the 21 to 26, things were a bit more plain sailing. So still suffering, but I think it was hard, but also I feel like I had some kind of validation from the first record, which meant I felt more confident about what I was doing, and I actually had more idea of what it was to make an album, because when you go in without making one before, you think this is so scary, making a body of work that's going to be good. So I think I just had to go with my gut, try not to overthink it, and when it felt finished, just be right, put it one side. I think it was hard though. I think it's always scary. Every creative baby you make it's not an easy road. You get there, but
right. Well, one thing from listening to the new album, I don't think you're going to have anybody thinking that you're a country singer at this point.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like the first record really kind of made me, I also, for my own self, I kind of promoted the side of me. And I think it was the first record I was just kind of accepting my fate. I was like, yeah, I'm a country singer. Yeah, that's me. And then I think I sat down and thought, hang on a second. There's one song that maybe is a bit, but maybe I need to kind of fine tune what I actually want to make, because I think the new record feels, it doesn't feel as country, which is what I wanted, And I still love country music. I think it's amazing, but I don't want to be known sonically as just one genre, because I think I didn't necessarily start in country music, so I wouldn't want to like
Yep.
label myself that and be insincere.
Right. So when you went started thinking about the new record, sonically, what were you thinking in terms of how you wanted to present yourself?
I think I just like wanted to just have a bit more power behind the production. I think the first record I went in kind of wanting it in places to feel a bit more rough and lo-fi, just because I wanted to have space to progress over the next couple of records I make. And I think I just wanted the production to have a bigger sound, and the songs that I was writing for the new record felt like there was scope for it. So I thought, you know what, this is time to kind of add a bit more layers and just pad it out more. And I think working with both Ali again and then Dan Curry, I think they both just, Dan especially, brought out more of a distortion side of production for me. He kind of added some more interesting twists and turns to the songs. So yeah, I think I just wanted to just have things that are a bit harder in places, to be honest, and still have the singer-songwriter side of me, but just push things out a little bit. I mean, it's not exactly like revolutionary what I've done. It's more me just for my own sake pushing it. But yeah, for me, I'm happy, you know.
Cool. So you mentioned Ali and Dan helped out with production. So were you recording in a studio with other musicians? Were you doing it from home? I mean, there's all sorts of different ways that everybody's recording these days. So give me a little lowdown on how you did it.
Of course. So basically both were in proper studios. So Ali's studio was in Bristol. It's a lovely studio called the Playpen, and it was really nice. It was really close to my house, so it was really nice just getting to wake up in the morning and walk to the studio. He's got some really great kit in there, and it's quite a small space, but you know, you're surrounded by a lot of good stuff that will inspire you. So yeah, I found his studio very familiar and comforting going for the second record because I spent so much time there. Dan's studio, similarly, is in London in Streatham, but it still had the same kind of vibe to it. He's got some crazy synths that I'm just like, what is that? It literally looks like Howl from 2001 Space Odyssey or something. You feel a bit scared by it. But yeah, I think both for like proper kind of recording studios, but quite cozy places. They didn't feel too clinical, because I found in the past when you track somewhere that is so kind of swanky, I think I just freak out and just feel uncomfortable. You need to have somewhere where you feel comfortable to kind of relax and not feel like you're being watched, you know?
Yep. So that leads me to wondering, when you're actually recording your vocals, are you being watched? Do you have people kind of giving you feedback? Do you prefer to be kind of with the lights out by yourself? What kind of environment is it?
Well, Dan kind of cracked me up, because when we did the ones in there, he'd kind of like muck about with the lasers. He's got these random lasers in his studio that he likes to put on. So I got the giggles with that. But with Ali, like, he had this pair of like pink sunglasses that I put on as a joke, and it seemed that when I did put them on, I was doing much better takes. So he was like, I think you need to keep the sunglasses on. But I think mainly, like, I'm kind of someone where I kind of like having that company, because it makes me perform better, because I feel slightly self-conscious in a way that I feel like I need to prove myself. So I like having someone in there. If I'm all on my own, I get a bit like, you know, I feel like I'm in one of those, especially if you're in like a proper booth and it's dark, you feel like one of those sensory deprivation tanks or something.
Right.
So I feel like if I did that, then I'd probably relax too much. So you need to be kept on the toes a bit.
Yeah, you don't want to doze off in the middle of the take.
No. Stuff recorded. Every second counts.
Now, I was hoping we could touch on a couple of tracks just to get your. There's one called Howl, which immediately thinking of Allen Ginsberg, and I thought maybe you were going Patti Smith on us a little bit, but obviously not. Tell me a little bit about that one.
'Cause you make me howl like was on the moon. You're gonna live in love like never before. There's a cold wind gonna blow us right round. 'Cause you make me howl like was on the moon. You're gonna live in love like never before. There's a cold wind gonna blow us right round.
Howl was actually written a while back, when I was about 5 years ago, and it was written with my brother and my friend Josh, and we wrote it at my mum's house. And at the time, my mum was having lots of building work done to the house, and I remember the builders coming in going, "Oh, can we just let you know we think that song's really good?" And I was like, "Oh, thanks." It's just a new song we've been writing. Anyway, I kind of forgot about it for years, and then for the new record, one of the people at my label said, "Oh, like there's this one song I found on an email that you sent me ages ago, and I really like you to work on it." And I was like, "That song, like, oh my god, like that's so old, like no." And then I kind of put my guard down and was like, you know what, I think it still felt like a good song and something I should pay some attention to. So I started working on it again, and yeah, kind of brought it back to life. And yeah, I'm so happy that Danny flagged it and was like, "Hey, we should work on this," because it feels like an important track for the record, and it's made me realise it doesn't matter when a song's been written. You know, if it feels right for an album, you just bung it on there.
Bung it on there. That's the way. Yeah. Are there horns on that, or is that synths? I can't tell anymore.
It's a bit of everything. That track was a bit of a roller coaster, really. I think it went through some strange phases. It definitely had some quite questionable fashion choices at times, but we got there in the end. But yeah, it's got like a lot of layers of synths, and then there's this like Japanese harp on it, and then we have my friend Campbell and my friend Freddie do saxophone and trumpet on it. So yeah, it was a kind of, yeah, I wanted it to feel really cinematic, and I definitely took a lot of inspiration from like Arcade Fire, kind of the Suburbs record, and also a bit of Reflector, the kind of depth of kind of arrangement from that. So yeah.
Cool. Now, speaking of fashion choices, I see there's a video for Alligator. So it's kind of set in this kind of surreal cafe thingy going on. What's going on there?
Wow, yeah, so that video was made by an amazing lady called Edie Lawrence. She's a animator from London. And yeah, so my friends called Club Collective and Edie built the set in this hall in Easton in Bristol. And yeah, it was so much fun. It was like, we wanted it to feel really uneasy and surreal and kind of cartoony, but not. But it was so much fun to make. We had this lovely guy called Ian come down. We called him the Bean King, the one that's shoveling beans down his neck the whole video.
Right.
And yes,
there's some messy eating in that video, definitely.
Say again?
There's some sloppy eating in that video.
There is, and we had to keep going, "Gary, do you mind eating some more beans?" And it would be like 8 hours in, and he'd be like, "Okay," and we'd be like, "Thank you so much, we're so sorry." And yeah, and then I managed to get Paul McGann, who's an absolute icon with Nell and I, to star in the video. So that was like the most surreal thing. My mum and dad were like, "How the hell have you wangled with Nail to be in your video?" So that was a real exciting moment to have him cameo in the video.
Right. And now I see you wrap up the album with the Willow song cover from The Wicker Man.
Yes.
Interesting choice. Tell me what brought that on.
By Paul Giovanni and Magnet is so fantastic, and it just for something made in the 1970s, I think it still feels very timeless now when you listen back, and you can imagine an artist replicating it now. And I think that song, Willow song, I loved it, and there is a creepy vibe to it, and obviously the scene is all very strange and seductive and creepy, but I think I was in the rehearsal room one day, and I was like, "Boys, I've been listening to this song. Like, it'd be really fun to maybe try a new version of it." So Robbie started doing this crowd rock drummer thing, and then it kind of went from there. And then we were like, "Why don't we do it at a festival?" And we did it at Green Man, and then we kind of couldn't stop playing it. So it kind of got to the end of tracking, and I was like, you know what? It felt just like the right way to end the album. I didn't want to end on a kind of proper, something being an ending. I wanted it to feel like there was more to come. And there's something about the outro that we've made that feels like, okay, this is on to the next album. So yeah, and that's what I want to
Right.
create.
So you're thinking about the next record already?
Yeah, I am, but I'm also trying to like chill out a bit because
Yeah.
I think because of lockdown and everything, I think I've just had this kind of fire in my belly to release the next one pretty soon. But I think things have changed in our existences again, and I think I'm wanting to just take some time to kind of reflect, and because I want a new album next one to be better than the last, and I think I need to just take time to sit in what I've done, and rather than kind of push it if it's not feeling right. So yeah, I'm gonna just take some time out. Well, not time out. I'm gonna just tour the hell out of myself until I burn out, and then go back to the writing board.
Burnout is a plan. Yeah. I got to say that it's obvious that you listen to a lot of different kinds of music because a lot of different influences are heard. I mean, you can hear a little bit of country, there's a little bit of twang, but then krautrock, folk, all this kind of electronica stuff. So I'm especially interested in Confession,
yes,
which has a kind of electronic krautrocky thing going on there. What can you tell me about that?
It was a very long time ago.
I wrote with Dan in the studio, and I wasn't really sure how I felt about it, and I think it's because it's out of my comfort zone, and Dan was like, this is great, and I was like, okay, let's keep working on it. But we kind of got a bit confused by it and left it to one side for a while, and then I was like, oh god, we need to actually track this, like this song should be on the record. So yeah, it kind of came out from Dan was just playing the do like on the bass, and then I just started singing that it was a very long time ago. And yeah, I think at the time I was listening to a lot of Wire. Is it Wire or The Wire? Yeah. No, it's Wire. Yeah.
Wire.
Yeah, Wire.
The punk band, the post-punk band.
Yeah. The post-punk band. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Wire, definitely.
And I think it was like in my head, and the kind of syncopated melodies and stuff. And I think Dan comes from like a kind of rock punk background in sorts and certain things he does. So I think he just brought out of me a song that I wanted to create. I wanted to write something a bit more kind of punky, and yeah, he kind of just facilitated it. And then I kind of wrote the on the synth, and we kind of laid up these chords, and yeah, I think it was yeah, I really enjoyed writing that song, and I'm really happy it's on the record because it's also so fun to play live. So yeah.
Yeah. Now, one thing I noticed, and this happens more so with female vocalists than male, is that people want to kind of connect you to other singers and say, oh, she sounds like this. And that happens quite a bit. I've seen Stevie Nicks, obviously Kate Bush, the Cardigans, the Sundays, all these people. How do you feel about that when you read those things?
I think you just kind of really made me realize something, that when it's females have often more kind of been like, oh, she sounds like this, and to be honest, with the Stevie Nicks one, it happens so much, and people are like, oh, it's Stevie Nicks back from the dead, she's come back to release her new record. Oh my god, I'm literally no, but I completely understand the comparisons. I have a similar vibrato, but I'd say I have been inspired by Kate Bush and Stevie and all these, but I still feel like my voice is my own. But I appreciate the comparisons, but I could never say that I don't know. I'm very flattered, but I think they are amazing in their own right. So it's very kind of hard when you get compared to these greats and you just feel like, what? And it's also like I get compared so much that sometimes it does feel frustrating that you're not really carving your own path, and people kind of feel like you're regurgitating something that's already existing.
Right.
I'll prove my point. I'll keep grafting away.
What do you think of Kate's resurgence thanks to the Stranger Things thing? It's been kind of wild, huh?
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's so most deserved thing ever. It's just extraordinary, and she was the youngest ever woman to get number one, and now she's the oldest, and it just is a testament her as a writer. And yeah, it's just great. And all these young people, they didn't hear her back in the day, and it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Great that people are rediscovering her time and time again, because I remember when I first heard her and it changed my life, and I thought this is how you do it.
Right. So have you ever been down to this part of the world? Australia, New Zealand?
No. Well, my uncle lives in Australia, but I'm yet to visit. I really must.
I think everybody has an uncle that lives in Australia. I said, I think everybody has an uncle that lives in Australia. It's like
a universal link. They're all there.
Right.
I've always wanted to. Yeah, I would love to come to New Zealand. I've heard a lot about it, and yeah, I'd love to go there. I think, yeah, hopefully, if this music thing keeps going, I'll hopefully get to come and play shows around there. So that'd be really fun.
Well, hopefully the music thing will keep going.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Anyway, I mean, there's strange things happening everywhere. I mean, are you affected by all the political stuff that's happening in England? Boris is in trouble these days. Do you think about that?
I'm absolutely buzzing for him to get booted out. I can't wait. I'm gonna be chucking eggs at him from afar.
Fantastic. All righty. Well, I'll let you go then. Good luck with the record release on Friday. Have fun in Bristol. And thank you for talking to me.